The circle
I
is
think
going.
we're alive.
Here we are. What's going on, everybody? Today's really exciting. We brought a very special guest who's very near and dear to our heart. We've been able to just watch him flourish, like more than just grow, just flourish and shine into the world and bring a lot of healing to a lot of people. So we're like, oh my gosh, we wanted to give the space for this guy to come in and share his story, share what's been going on with him, how he's been able to really build up his uh, Reiki practice and to, ultimately into the six figures, right? You're hitting 10K months. Like, high five, dude. And when we first met, like, I just love it. I love seeing the growth. So please help me welcome Anthony Penzarella, the most incredible person, healer.
I'm actually kind of impressed on the pronunciation. How close was that?
Spot on.
Wow. Yeah, I know. I'm like, that's amazing.
I love this guy like a brother, right? I can say his name. Seriously.
I know. I'm like, wow, that's hell yeah. Great job.
So good to see you again, Chad and Holy.
Thanks, beautiful.
So, so Anthony, why don't you give us a rundown on your business? Like, what's your vision? Who are the clients? Like, how long have you been doing this? How does it all work?
All right. So my vision is to integrate holistic care with the medical system. That's the big vision. That's the long-term vision that I've been working on. We know that the medical system doesn't have the whole story. There are other pieces that are required for healing. And so as a holistic practitioner, my focus has been relationships and contracts with various cancer networks and medical centers and dealing with the oncologists and things like that. So that's the vision, full integrated care for cancer treatment and support. And so that's where my business has been going over the past several months. I've been supporting people who are either going through cancer, supporting someone, giving care for someone, a family of someone, affected by cancer. And, that's me turning my journey back on the people. I have, a cancer survivor story over the past 2.5 years, and I lived it. And so I know what it takes. I know what it took for me to heal my body and to heal my mind and spirit. And, that's the journey that I'm taking people on right now. But in the meantime, I am a Reiki master instructor, and my business is to train other Reiki master teachers so that we can pass this work on. The vision is that Reiki masters belong on every corner with every yoga studio, hence in the new yoga studio. So they belong in every medical center, every nurse's office, every corner next to the gas station. I truly believe that there aren't enough people practicing energy healing or some kind of energy medicine. And so that's my goal to at the very least train people in Reiki so that they can teach others and spread the practice.
So when are you going to create a special business for sword attack victims?
I don't think I'm going to find so many of those. I don't know how much I'm going to focus there.
That's a very specific name. Maybe we'll get into that part of the story later. But give us the picture of where you were, kind of when we met and when we started working together.
Well, I remember you were sick.
Yeah. I mean, so I was about a year into chemotherapy. I had a rare splenic lymphoma that I was diagnosed with in late 2019. Which basically shut down my career that I was working in at the time. I spent 17 years in corporate, actually in the biomedical and pharmaceutical industries. And so that's where I was working at the time. I also had a burgeoning Reiki practice from 2015 to 2019, 3 studios, 3 counties, large following, was teaching all the time. And that had to be put on hold. So, I went through 2.5 years of immunotherapy and spiritual, energetic, emotional, and physical healing. And, I taught selectively. I did train Reiki masters while I was going through my treatments. And so the people in the community were able to be served in the way that, I saw them being served. So I got to impart my wisdom and my vision upon the local community and train some teachers that I'm now working with a little bit more in a professional capacity. So, I was teaching selectively. I was doing healing sessions mostly on myself and on my inner circle, who was also providing me with healing sessions. But, I kept the business alive because it's not only my business, it's my passion, it's my practice, it's my purpose in this world. So there was no way that Reiki was going to go away. It was essential, to my healing. And so I was healing for about the past 2.5 years. And then March of this year, I finished my treatments, at least from the infusion piece. I'm full remission, no cancer free. And, I decided to go back to work full time in my passion as a Reiki master and as a, holistic empowerment coach, life coach, helping people, with transformation.
That's awesome. We're gonna kind of meld like your stuff and our our the whole purpose of it.
Meld away.
We're melding. So I'm curious that because there's a lot of coaches that follow us that don't know anything or don't know much about Reiki. Maybe they know a little bit of it and this thing. What is the value if you're a coach on getting a Reiki certification or going down that route?
That's a really good question. And, I do train a lot of coaches and other, holistic practitioners, holistic wellness coaches. The biggest value I see is to be able to really get their patient or their client incredibly relaxed so that their mind is open and their body is relaxed, right? I mean, Reiki works on the nervous system as much as it does on skin conditions. So, there's a resetting process of the nervous system when we do energy healing. That really, really supports the client, especially with my trauma clients. It's really important that if they're going to talk through certain things and they're going to bring things to awareness, that they're not having trauma responses during the sessions. And so, Reiki is a great complement to any coaching that people are doing around trauma. And anybody who needs to be relaxed, really, I mean, it's such a universal practice. But if you're coaching somebody on a one-on-one basis, it really helps. Like for me, I start every session with a little bit of deep breathing and some Reiki so that they're really relaxed, super present, grounded, and then connected to their higher power so that we can have a really efficient session.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when we were working together, what did you discover? What did you I guess, where is the business? Because I'm thinking exactly. I remember, when we first met, you were just going into treatment, right? And you weren't ready to jump in.
Right.
And then you came back at some point and it's all kind of blurry. I was just going to remind me, you came back and then I remember you just started
the hero's journey.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so you came back, got amazing results, sword attack, freaking
more trauma. Yeah.
So give us the journey of what it was like working with us and the results and how that all went down.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I first, came across you guys, I think I've been following you guys for a long time, but then when I first started interacting with you inside of the group and, having private one-on-one conversations, exploring what it's like to work together, I was in a pretty sensitive space. I mean, finances were all over the place. I was living off a disability, random sessions that weren't really planned, but by the grace of God were coming in to keep me supported and to, help me pay my child support while I was healing. And so I was very, very fortunate that things just showed up. And, I had a practice for 4.5 years, which was thriving. I mean, I was about to walk out of my corporate career because of that practice, when I got really sick. So I had the foundations underneath me, but what I really did not have was the social media presence, the social media awareness, how to effectively leverage social media. I had built my business off of referrals, showing up and doing workshops and then inviting people in one-to-one that I was looking in their eyes. I never made a call. I never did a discovery session. I said, if you want to work with me, here's where I am, book a session. I'll see you then. Right. That's how I built my business, a very, very traditional way. And, I'm very good at what I do. And so I was able to leverage my knowledge of asking for referrals and just building my business through a referral kind of word of mouth, which is very, very powerful. But it's different than building a media business or social media following. So, when I came across you guys, you were, my first impression was that, well, these guys are authentic, right? And they can teach me something. So like those are the first two things. Like you're likable, you're lovable, you're great energy, and you know what you're doing. I mean, you got my attention. And for me, as like a high performer, somebody who's coaching people about 20 years, there aren't a lot of people that I even allow to coach me, let alone, sign up for a little over a year's worth of work. And, to be able to commit the time and the dollars, it was a big commitment for me. So once I started listening to you guys and getting focused and niching down and really getting, laser on what my audience was for a couple of different programs I was offering at the time, it worked, right? Like I just did what you told me to do and, kind of melded that with my own personality. I wanted to be authentic. I didn't want to come off like a lot of the people that I didn't allow to coach me on social media. And so there was a lot of turnoffs that, you guys definitely were you were the right coaches. I mean, I believe, my soul called you guys in as my soul coaches, and there's no mistaking, connection and energy. And that's where I thrive. Right. So you guys have my best interest at heart. It was win for you, it was win for me, and it was win for my students. Because we found a great price point for a great program for the right time and the right offer. And it was just, everything just kind of came together. And like, within a few days of making the first offer, I had my program filled. So, I mean, it was really nice. And I just kind of piggybacked off that through testimonials and then offering. I actually had some circumstances, and I was, having some health issues that came up at the end of 2021, including a traumatic event related to the sword. But I had some stuff, that got in between. And so I got off track again, and I was healing. And then I was going through another coaching program with the emotional intelligence side, really honing my leadership and facilitation, workshop skills. So I took a road away, and then I came back. And then now I have, a similar program, which is bigger, badder, bolder than ever, and really, really focused on helping the people who are focused on holistic medicine and working with the medical system. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer, right? Like we started working together. I did the thing. I followed the instructions. I followed the coaching, and it worked. And then I left the coaching and the instructions, and then nothing was happening. And then I started implementing again and being more present and, making my way back to success. And it looks like some really big months are in the works right now. So.
That's awesome. So as somebody that has had a bunch of success, right, already, like you've been coaching for 20 years, how are you able to drop the, I already know this, or what do they really know, or like any of that stuff, or I can just do it in this referral way, right? Like I've done it this way all the time. Why don't I just keep doing it this way? Like why did you even want to do social media?
I didn't. I didn't want to do social media. Right? I privately say I still don't want to do social media, but I mean, the truth is, the world changed, right? My life changed, my business changed, my health changed, my entire perspective on life changed. And so to come back into a world which was driven by social media and online presence and sourcing people from all over the world, I mean, what I was doing up until that point on social media was not working. Right. So, I mean, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't have a choice but to get the required information is what I always tell people. It's like, get the information. Whatever you do with it, that's up to you. You can turn it into the wisdom by putting it into practice. But if you don't get the information, you're kind of screwing yourself. So my vision is always to be the best that I can be. I'm a high performer. I want to know what I need to do to play in the arenas that I choose to play in. And so you guys are the experts. I was coached to listen to the experts. And as much as you resist them, compare it to what you're doing that's not working. And then there you have your answer. So humbling myself to friends and leaders that, know what they're doing, and my resistance doesn't work. So I didn't really have a choice.
Got it. So what would have had you almost not get the support?
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, like, once we had the conversations, the private conversations, and I really saw with my own eyes, like who you guys were, there wasn't anything that would have stopped me besides my own stories of, I don't have enough money to give a deposit, or I'll just do this later, or I'm too sick, right? Like I had my own considerations, was like, was I really healed enough to actually jump back into business and putting myself out there in a way that I know I'm capable of? And had the ups and downs, because I wasn't ready at some point, but I was already in it. And so I just kind of rolled with the tides. And I mean, it was that. It was like my own energy, my own considerations. It was nothing like professionally speaking that like I would have chosen something else. I would have chosen nothing. I would have just continued to just go on, doing what I was doing, and being frustrated that I was healing and not having a business, in the background helping me. And I was dependent on the government and long-term security from my employer that I was never going back to work for. So it was a no-brainer. And, my own stuff in the way would have been the only thing that would have stopped me.
Yeah. And if there's anybody here that's like kind of on the fence of like, even discovering more, like seeing more of what we're about, like what would you tell them?
I would tell them discover whatever you have to discover. But if you want to have success on social media, that, Chad and Holly have the formula, and they're amazing coaches and amazing people. So just go for it.
Appreciate
Awesome.
that.
Never let money stand in the way of your decision. You can always create more money. I mean, if you're already a coach and you're already making money, like just invest it wisely. I always say, get your money right. It helps a lot of other things fall into place.
For
sure. So if somebody wanted to become a Reiki master, or even just get into the first couple level, I don't know your packages, but like, how would they get a hold of you? Where would they go? How could they make that happen?
Yeah, I mean, they can go to risereikidojo.com and/or Rise Reiki Dojo at Facebook. Send me a message, start a conversation. A lot of the people I train are already Reiki practitioners or Reiki masters, and they come to me for additional refinement training or training in the Holy Fire Karuna style that I offer. I teach 4 different styles of Reiki, and so one of the newer styles is one that I teach the most. And so I train a lot of people who are already teachers and/or masters and/or practitioners, but I teach the basic levels as well. So they just get in touch with me. We'll have a conversation about where do they fit into the various programs that I teach, and I would make a recommendation for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, if Reiki has called you in any way, this is the guy. So make sure you go connect with him.
Yeah, like if you're not aware, like he's like the Yoda of Reiki masters, right?
He will
like
never
the
tell
Grand
you that,
Master.
So we're going to tell you that for
Yes.
you, because he never will.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like if you go back, it's like Yoda has been teaching Jedis for how many years, and how many masters has he trained, right? Like I think you might beat him. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I was actually looking at my business page on Facebook the other day, and I've got testimonials all the way back to 2015. And I'm like, wow, I don't even think I ever even read these, let alone some of the beautiful things that, the results that the people got, through working with me. So I'm just super grateful for the people that took a chance in the very beginning, that gave me those wins and that confidence to really fall in love with the practice and continue to do it.
Yeah, I love that. And really getting out there. And that's what this is all about, is taking your gifts and really going out there and being able to impact just massive amounts of people. And Anthony, you've been an incredible testimonial in your journey. I wouldn't say you ever steered this way or off. Like, it's all been part of the path of what's been needed into where you are today. And it's been incredible to witness. And I'm really grateful to be a part of it. So thank you for taking the time today, and really sharing your story with us and everyone else who's watching too. You got anything else?
No.
I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Bye for now.